G'day guys and welcome to Beanlazy Gaming. So today we're going to do the first in hopefully many tutorials. So we'll start with Courseplay and we're going to run through where I download it from, how I use it, what the functions are, so on and so forth. So to start off with, I download it from a place called the GitHub. So there will be a link in the description below, but this is where I get it from. So when you go to the GitHub, you'll see this page. Now this page gives you basically all the update information. This is where they load it up to, upload it to. So as you can see, stuff was updated 2 months ago, other stuff's been, 2 days ago, 2 months ago, 10 months ago, 9 hours ago, things like that. So it's constantly being updated. So if you do it this way, it's very much worthwhile downloading a new version every couple of weeks, really. It's constantly being updated, so the best thing to do is do it this way. Now, what you do when you get here, you go to code, bring that down, download a zip. So we're going to download that as a zip. Now that's downloaded. I've already done it once today, but that's okay. Just minimize that, minimize all that, minimize that. We've got stuff everywhere, sorry guys. So we're going to bring this back up. We're going to go to downloads. I'm going to get rid of everything I don't need. Don't need that, so delete. Don't need that, delete. Okay, so what you'll find is this. We all know what that looks like, so we're going to unzip that. So we're going to extract the files. We just want to extract them in the downloads folder. There it is. So we're going to go into that, and again, we're going to highlight the whole lot. Once we've highlighted the whole lot, we go to whatever zip file you use. Doesn't matter, just as long as you use a program. And we're going to add to archive. We're going to change it to a zip file. Now what I do is I actually rename it. So we're going to go back to that. And we're going to go to here, start, and I'm going to put ZZZ underscore courseplay. Now what that does is make sure it makes it so it's one of the last programs to load when you're going into the game. And we're going to go OK. Now from there, I just cut it out of there. And then I go to wherever your downloads folder is, your mods folder, sorry. So mine's Steam apps, common. And we're going to go find Farming Simulator and mods. Then you're just going to paste it in there, and it's going to go. And it's the same as selecting a any other way you do a mod. It's all the same. Don't have to worry about it. No, I don't. There we go. So if you give me a second, guys, and we'll go into the game and we'll show you. Okay, guys. So now we're in the game. When you load in, you're going to you'll see when you load in, a little box will come up saying courseplay and calculating field size. Just let that run through and you'll be right to go. Now, what you're going to do when you get in here, it's all set to the right mouse. It's default, it's set to the right click of the mouse button. So we're going to right click when you're in your tractor and you're going to get this box come up. So now you got this box, we can run through a couple of things. So it'll start off on this screen. So you got a few different functions. When you're doing harvest work with a combine, there's an option to do stuff there. You've got this button here, which is where you can record, your courses for all different sorts of things. You got a settings tab, which that one there is a combine find function for overloading with the chaser bin. You've got speed information that you can adjust it to how fast it's going to turn, how fast it'll go while it's in the field, and all that. You got some advanced settings, how it uses its maneuvers, field finding, path, all that. Generally, you don't have to touch this at the moment. Sometimes you can go use these ones, but at a later date I'll go through that. And then you just got courses at startup, blah blah blah. It's all pretty basic stuff. Okay, so also you're going to have that. It'll start off on that, and we've got a few how it acts with lights and wait times and all that. But okay, so we'll go back to this tab. So you've got a few combine overload functions, seeding and fertilizing function there. This one here is if you want to just record a course from waypoint to waypoint. You got a fieldwork tab, a few other things, and some silage bunker stuff. But today we're going to focus on fieldwork. Now the advantage of the newer ones is whatever tool you're using, it'll only highlight what function you need to use, the main function you need to use. The older versions you had to make sure you selected the right function. So we're going to set up a player. So we'll do a single player, and then I'll show you how to set up two machines in a field to work at the same time. So at the moment, we'll bring the map up. So that's in cab, wrong one. There we go. Field 14. So we want to work on this one today. So what we're going to do is make sure we're on the fieldwork tab, and we want to generate course generation. Actually, before that, what I like to do is we'll start the tractor. We will drive in a little bit, make sure we're in the field. And what I like to do is just make sure the field edge path is already calculated properly. So we go calculate field edge path. Now this doesn't only work on ones that have already been done. If you've created a new field or extended a new field, you do that, and it's going to register where the field boundary is. Now the numbers go from 1 to 99. I think it's 99 or 999. I can't remember off the top of my head, sorry. But we're going to go to field 5, and I'm just going to override field 5's path edge, just to make sure that it's exactly the way I want it to be. Alright, now we'll bring that back up. Now we'll go to course generation. So now we're in field 14. We go into course generation. We're faced with this screen. Now what we're going to do, it hasn't actually registered what field I'm in. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's important to make sure you are on the right field. And I've buggered it up already, so we don't want field 5, we want to calculate that. We want to put this back to 14. Make sure, like I said, do it right. Field 14. Okay, so we'll go back into course generation. Now, we want to go to field 14. And we want to start roughly, whatever corner you start in, park your machine there and leave it as started current direction. Starting direction I generally leave as automatic. We don't have any islands to bypass at the moment, so trees or anything like 59 here would have you would use the island bypass function, 61, things like that. But we'll go through that at a later date as well. We're not worried about skip rows at the moment, but you can have it so it skips rows if you want. We don't want to skip any rows. We're only going to work on one tool at the moment. It's already calculated the width. Headlands I like to do around, then do two or three is generally a good number. So in the case of a single one, I'm going to do 2 because we're only using one player to start with. I like to do counterclockwise for your headland direction. I generally just let it start on the headland passes first, but you can get it to do the up-down rows and then finish off headlands last. I generally leave that on smooth for the headland corners, and I'll leave the 7% overlap, and at the moment we'll just leave it as up-down. So we'll double check all our settings are right. which I'm happy with, and we're going to go course generation. Now, as you'll see, when we zoom in, this is the course that it's selected, which is a pretty acceptable course. So it'll start here at that mark there. It's going to do 2 laps, and then it'll start doing these, the up downs. Now, one thing to note is, say this field went right up like that, it'll want to try and cut across it a lot of the time. So what you got to do is just make sure when it goes to the next thing that it's not cutting across stuff, because it can be a bit of a pain. If it does do that, just change your starting direction. The longest manual, you can set it to west, whatever direction you want it to be. Generally longest edge, just change it. And what that'll do is, once it's generated its course, it's already got it that way. So we'll go to east, generate the course there, let it think for a second, see how that changes it a little bit. You can get it to go whichever direction you want it to. I am just going to go back to automatic, generate that course. I'm happy with that course. So we're all happy with all that. Now you can do racetrack and change the course. See how it'll do that? They're the things you've got to watch. So racetrack is, what it'll do is it'll start at one point and it'll do a couple of rows in a circle, then move on to the next lot, do a circle, and move on to the next lot, do a circle. Then you've also got spiral. So it'll start at its outside rows and it'll come down, back over to here, up, back over to here, and keep doing that. What else have we got? We got lands. Lands is quite good for your combines, which we'll go through at a later date as well. So just things like that. You've just got to be aware of things like that. But we'll go through all that in a later date. So we're going to go back to up down, and we're happy with that course. Okay. Now we're going to go, once you're happy with the course, hit back. So we go back. Now, as you can see, that's our starting point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drive over here and get this, so it's roughly near the start. Just like that. Now that that's done, I like to have it set on first waypoint. There is a couple of options which you use if you've had a problem with course play halfway through or anything. You can go from the nearest waypoint. But to start with, we're going to go with that, okay? So once we've done that, we hit drive course. Now once I drive course, it'll unfold and he'll start his course. The number one thing, guys, is just make sure all your settings are correct to start with. If your settings are correct to start with, you're going to have very minimal trouble. If they're not right, you will have a lot of trouble. So he's going to basically follow a line. So if we go to the cog, this one here, so that's showing your start and end points. The highlighted ones are showing your start and end points. Now if we click this middle one, it's going to bring up this, which is the exact path that this is going to drive on. So you can see he's directly over the middle of the line, and he's going to follow that course all the way around, and you can see that whole course. Now down here, these are the little orange dots, essentially these numbers. So he's been through 41 of 2,573 course points that it's got to go through. So there it's turning points, essentially. These are the aim. This is where that tractor is aiming for. And we know now that it's going to take around an hour, just over an hour to complete. It'll take a little bit longer than that by the time it starts doing its headlands, once it's finished its headlands. So, but what we're going to do now, we can also, what we can do is go to back to there, and now we've got the little disc. So if we hit that, we can now save this course. So we know we're in F14, not F1, F14. So that just indicates field 14. This is the way I name the course. And we know we've got a 12.2 metre machine. So I hit save. Now that's always in there. So when we go to the little world icon, click on that, and there's our course. It's saved already. So if I wanted to, I can go stop driver, hit the X and completely delete that course. It's gone. But if I want that course back, the little file there, hit that, and it's directly back. Now I can go current waypoint and hit drive course. And away he goes. So he's going to pick up right where he left from, and nothing changes. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to stop him, delete that course. Now I'm going to delete that course just to show you how to delete as well. So I want to hit the bin, and goodbye. That course doesn't exist anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the start, and I'm going to show you now how to do multiple tools. So you can do up to 8 multiple tools. I'm going to show you how to do it with 2 at the moment, and we can work from there. So we'll get back up here, and fold the tool back up. Come around, and I'm just going to roughly park it where I want to start. So I still want to start roughly in the same spot. Right mouse click, and we are back to there. Now the other thing is, once you're in this, you've got the cursor up, you can't move around. But if you right click again, we can move. Right click again, and that comes back up. Now just remember that once you're over that, you can't do anything. It won't let you do anything. But when I come out of that, I can drive. Back in there, I can't drive, I can't steer, or do anything. So if you ever have an issue, just make sure your cursor isn't in the course play box. Right, so we go back to the course play controls. So I want to generate course for 2. So we're going to leave all them settings the same, but what we're going to do is add 2 multiple tools. Now we know all our, just double check all our settings. We're happy with all our settings. Yes, we are. Course generation. And there you go. So here it pops up. The only thing I am going to change is I'm going to go back to 1 bypass, because I only need it to do 1 because I've got 2 tools doing the job. And there you go. So it slightly changes it. I'm happy with that. We hit back and go back to here. So I'm going to make sure I put this back to first waypoint. Check all my settings. So I want to come over to this one. See how he's, just make sure that is 1 to the right. Now if you're going clockwise, you want to make sure it's to the left for your first tool to move. So I'm going to go, because I'm going counterclockwise, we're going to have it go to the right. Now all I do, back there, we're still on first waypoint, hit drive course. So what happens? He unfolds. Now I'm going to, also just to show you, I'm going to save this course. So F14, 12.2, but because it's multiple, I'm going to go times 2. That's how I name it. So I know that it's a course for 2 12.2 metre machines, and hit save. We'll just close that. He's going to do his thing. I'm going to get out of the tractor. We're going to run over to the quad track, and we're going to get him to set up exactly on the left side. So we're going to jump in, and what we're going to do is we're going to exit cab view. There we go. We're going to bring up course play, and we want to copy course. So I want to copy the T9, which is the New Holland that I was using. I want to copy its course. Now, if you haven't saved the course, it'll just say what tractor it is, how far away it is, and temporary course. Okay, but we've saved the course, so I'm happy with that. That's the course I want to use. Now I'm going to hit this, which is copy course. So now I've copied the course. I want to start it from the first waypoint, so all that stays the same. I just want to go over to this tab, which is the mod specific settings, and I want to make sure I am to the left. Now, if you had 3 tools, you will have a center as well. But we've only got 2, so I want to make sure he's on the left. And what I'm going to do, from there, I can hit drive course from the first waypoint and hit drive course. So what he's going to do is he's just going to slowly move over. And he's going to go make sure that he's on the left of the line. It's always handy just to double check, guys. Just make sure you've got these up when you first start, so you can see where he is. So what he's going to do is, if you look straight down that line, the New Holland put its plough directly on the right hand side of that line. And what this quad track's going to do is, I'll just leave this for a second, you can close that because the course is already there, and he is directly on the left. So what he is going to do is follow that course directly on that left side. So, and as you can see, it's dropped the time. There's less points because you're doing a wider pass, and the time's only down to half hour. If you like this tutorial, give it a thumbs up. It's always helpful. And also, I stream on Facebook. I'll leave my link in the description. I stream on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night at 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time at the moment, or Australian Eastern Standard Time when it's not Daylight Savings. Any questions you have, feel free to drop in. I'm there to help you and show. Jump in the chat. We all enjoy having a good time. Thanks very much, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.